Hey guys, Trisha Mitchell here. I'm going to be doing a short video on my WeTech M16. I'm going to be talking about winter with gas blowbacks. A lot of people are like, oh, if it's winter, just forget about it. In some ways that's true, but don't forget about it. There's things you can do to be able to use your gas blowback in the winter. Now, first of all, here in the U.S., we have lots of different, what's the word? Man, I'm drawing a blank. Today's been rough. Like landscape, temperature. It's weekend, I shouldn't have to think. Anyways, we have lots of different temperatures in parts of the world, elevation, which is distance above sea level is like elevation. So obviously when you get higher, like in the mountains, it's colder, yada yada. So it's totally widespread. Now where I live, I'm pretty northern, so it can get dang cold down here, or up here, rather. And I'm sorry, we're getting so technical here, but yeah, it gets pretty cold here. Now, I fielded this M16 once. It was probably about 30 degrees. I had no hand warmers. I was running the stock bolt. I was running weights in my buffer. I think I was running weights in my... No, I don't... Maybe I was. I can't remember. Maybe I wasn't using weights in my buffer at that point. I don't think I was. But I had stock bolt carrier, nozzle, hop-up, everything. Stock parts. And it cycled perfectly fine. I had no issues with it. And that was probably 30 degrees around there. Now I'm going next weekend to play, and it says the temperature is supposed to be about 50 degrees. So if it's 50 degrees, I mean it's 50 out there now, outside now, and it cycles fine. Now, I have updated parts. So if you're running, like say, a WeTech PDW, GHK PDW, those cycle GHK G5, those cycle really well, pretty cold weather, because they're pretty light bolts. Now the WeTech MSK, the bolt is pretty large, so you do have to do some work with that gun to get it cycle properly, which is just sanding down the bottom of the bolt, the top of the hammer, and if you put a spring on the back of the buffer where the bolt hits, it even increases your recoil and your cycle speed. So I did that, and it works great in the winter. Now you can use CO2 magazines. I've heard mixed things about them. I've heard that they're really good, and then I've also heard people say they're just absolute trash. But obviously CO2 would be better for cold weather. So if you really are in a cold weather place that's often cold, I would get CO2 or get propane mags and run MAP gas. Pretty much if you live in like below 50 degree weather all year round, or not all year round, but like that's as hot as it gets, or even 60 degrees and stuff, I would just run MAP gas. MAP gas is pretty expensive over propane. It's about twice as much, but it's a lot better for cold weather. So if you're running cold weather, I'd recommend MAP gas. I've never used it. I've just heard that it's so much better in winter from everybody. So I actually have used MAP gas. I forgot. There was this dude that loaned me some of his mags, and it was in the summer. It was probably 65 degrees. It really was a fairly cold day from the summer. Maybe it was April, around there, so springtime, and he had 3 Stanags that he gave me, and all of them had MAP, and they all ran fine in my gun, in this gun actually, so I could tell it had a little bit more power to it, but not much. It doesn't have much more power to it. It's just better at expanding, I guess, in the winter. But I run propane. I just run flat propane, and I always have with this rifle, and I've been able to use it in pretty cold weather. So I'm going to use it Saturday. You'll see gameplay. I did get a steel bolt, and steel bolts are much heavier, so I'm going to have a harder time with the winter. But like I said, 50 degrees outside, and it cycles fine. It's an RITech steel bolt. Just got it. It's still breaking in, so that could be part of it. It needs to break in a little bit more in order to become a little bit smoother. It is lubricated fine. I'm going to go ahead and go. I have 5 of these Vietnam magazines and 1 Stanag. The 1 Stanag doesn't cycle as well. Don't know why, but all the Vietnam mags are so much better. They only hold 20 rounds, but I use them. I have 5 of those, and none of them leak. And my Stanag doesn't leak either. And then I have a really badly leaky version 1 Stanag, but I just ditched that. I don't even use it. That came with my PDW when I got it from a guy used. So, what can you do, though, to make your gun? I mean, you get a steel bolt, it's really going to be hard. You have to tune it properly. There's really nothing you can do to your bolt unless... I've heard of people Swiss cheesing their bolt, taking a drill, but you're not going to be able to drill through this steel. You're not going to be able to drill anywhere in here. This weight, it's out. You've really got to just leave this bolt alone. You can sand it down and make it just smooth. That's really all you can do with the bolt. As far as the buffer, this is my winter buffer. It is a plastic buffer, so the lighter your buffer, the better for winter it's going to be. This is my summer buffer, or above 60 degrees, or even 70. I haven't tested it yet. This one it's a WE buffer, metal buffer with weights in there, so this weighs as much as a real buffer, an H2 buffer. So this gives you much more kick, but it uses more gas to pull that steel bolt back and move this back. And it's a WE spring, and WE springs here are actually pretty, they're pretty beefy. So I'm running the WE spring. I have some spacers in my buffer tube to give the spring more power and also to space. Because this is a A1 buffer and this is a standard size buffer inside of a full stock. I think it would be considered an A2 buffer would be the full stock buffers. This one I think is considered an A2. But I have the stock W spring, which is like 3 years old. Steel bolt. So let's go ahead and try it with the the summer buffer in there. This is going to give massive kick, and it's not bad for winter. I can take it with me, but I just feel like it's just going to guzzle gas, and I don't want a chance. You know, just in case I have to take rapid fire shots and like dump 2 mags on a bunch of targets, I want to be able to get through the whole mag and get the bolt to lock back, and then when I reload, I want the second mag to not freeze up or anything. So let's go ahead and try it. This mag is not full of gas, do keep that in mind. So it's got pretty good kick. I can smell the propane. It seems to use more propane to fire, so I don't know if the FPS maybe goes down. Not worried about FPS. This thing, chrono's like between 340 and 370 with 30s, and that's really hard. So when I go to chrono, I'm going to fill my mag up half with propane. But most of the local field that I go to the most, they have pretty good field limits. They're like, I think it's above 450 and it's got to be bolt action. And I don't think this thing is going to chrono above 450 with 2s, even on a full charge. I don't think so. I have a chrono around here, so I can try it, but I don't think it will. And I've done modifications. I put a washer in my nozzle to bring the FPS down. So I've tried. It's not like I want my FPS super high. And I even have a standard inner barrel length in here. I'm surprised. The FPS is like 40 higher than it should be. So I don't know. But yeah, I mean, I'm not going to hold on to it. I'll just kind of... And it's massive. Alright, let's go and try the plastic buffer. The plastic buffer cycles faster. It almost cycles as fast as... cycles about as fast as with the stock bolt and the heavy buffer, so... I hope that makes sense. Stock bolt with this buffer, with the weights in here, cycles about as fast as this Tech bolt with the plastic buffer. So it obviously doesn't return as fast. Alright, so... It's still got some massive kick. I really do think so. But it's just not as centralized into the shoulder, because when this is in here, this gets hit by the bolt, and the bolt pushes it back, and it goes probably about this far back. So it starts here and goes like probably to there. And that is just directly into your shoulder. I do like the, when I have this plastic buffer in here, you can hear the spring rattle, and I actually kind of like that, because on a real rifle, when you have ear protection on, real AR, at least ones with full stock, so that's, well, actually, both. I've shot, the rifle that my dad has a full stock, but I've shot a rifle with an LE stock, and you can hear the buffer spring rattle when you have ear protection on. Now, when you don't, you probably can't hear it. I haven't shot without ear protection, but you probably can't because of the loud boom. But with hearing protection on, you can. It just vibrates and you can kind of hear it. And with this, you can too. Especially if you have your ear down there. This one you can hear it a little bit. It's not too bad. I think with the heavy buffer, you can't hear it. I think it's just the buffer shape, the way the shape is or something. This is a little wider, so I think it's just the shape and the way the spring wraps around it maybe pushes it out a little bit, and then the spring rattles against the buffer tube. And let's try the other one. Yeah, see, this one doesn't have the buffer rattle. It doesn't. Yeah, this doesn't have buffer rattle. Okay, so with this one, there is no buffer rattle. And with this one, there is. I kind of like the buffer rattle. The LM4s have buffer rattle out of the stock, out of the box. Like, I kind of like that, to be honest. It's kind of annoying, some people. Yeah, see, this has got a little bit. So if you have any questions, just ask. That's really all. You can, with an M4 at least, you can adjust with buffer weights and bolt combinations to get your gun to cycle good. I mean, this thing, I can probably go outside and bust 3 mags through it with propane, a full charge of propane, get 3 mags through it on semi-auto with this plastic buffer. With this, probably 2, and it wouldn't cycle as fast through both. But in the summer, this should get 3 good. So yeah, if you have any questions, just ask, just comment below. I mean, if you have a stock WeTech, it's going to be this buffer, which is an amazing buffer. It's hollow inside, so you can put 2 ball bearings and 2 washers to space them out to try to minimize rattle. I could probably fit another washer in there to make it so it doesn't rattle at all, which I actually may do. Why is it rattling? It's not supposed to. It used to not. Whatever, I'll just leave it. Anyways, if you have any questions, again, put it below. If you have any questions about any, like this gun, I don't know. I don't really want to go over like a parts list. Just go on my channel. I have videos all over the place over there. But yeah, I'll go ahead and give you a glimpse of the lock back. Lock back every time. So, if you have any questions, just ask. See you guys later.